Welcome to a very special edition of Election Plain Speak. We are calling it Coffee with Shashi Tharoor. I'm at a Starbucks in his city in Trivandrum, and Shashi Tharoor, it's very busy days of last few days of campaigning. So thanks a lot for speaking to CNN News 18.
Pleasure. In fact, there are actually only 2 full days of campaigning remaining, because the day before polling is silent day, where you go and visit people at home, but you can't do anything public. And then 26th we vote. Can't come any sooner.
Can't come any sooner. Okay. But tell me one thing. I'm going to just dive in. Would you concede this is one of the toughest fights you have fought from Trivandrum? This is your 4th straight election.
No, my toughest fight was 2014. There was a Modi wave. There was a lot of nasty personal attacks on me during that election campaign following the passing away of my wife. And it was a really tough one. In fact, the result was also very close. 2019 wasn't as tough, and I ended up with a very convincing win, which was an even better margin than I expected. And I must say that 2024 looks much more like 2019 than like 2014.
That's a big statement you're making, because this is, as you conceded recently, the strongest seat of the BJP in Kerala, and they're putting all their might. Your opponent is Rajiv Chandrasekhar.
That's right. So the BJP really doesn't have too many constituencies where they even have a chance. Thiruvananthapuram is the only constituency where they've come second twice in a row, and therefore obviously they hope that they can turn that second into a better result at some point, and they've put their best foot forward. As I've been joking, they've been campaigning expensively while I've been campaigning extensively, but I'm not sure the result is going to be what they hope.
You seem very confident. What is the reason for that confidence?
Well, first of all, because I've been around every nick and corner of the constituency, and I've seen the affection of people, the smiles, the waves, the reactions, which I've now begun to decode over the years. And on top of that, all the journalists who've been interviewing me and who've been around and seen other candidates' campaigns and talked to people have all unanimously, without any exception, told me that they think this is a slam dunk for me.
You want to trust the media and the journalists? They've got it wrong many times.
What they tell you privately is usually more accurate than what they're willing to say publicly.
Right. But in some ways, are you happy that Rajiv Chandrasekhar is your opponent? Because, you know, both of you are like non-politician politicians. He's a technopreneur, you're a former diplomat. But yet, it's been a little bit nasty, your fight with each other.
I've been a bit disappointed by some of the stuff. I mean, for somebody who's barely set foot in Trivandrum in the last 15 years, to come and grandly say this man has done nothing and I will perform, that was a bit irritating to hear, because the fact is that Trivandrum is unrecognizable in the last 15 years, and much of that attributed to issues in which I took a personal, active initiative. And people know that. I've just come from a session with the Trivandrum Chamber of Commerce and Industry, where just talking about the various issues that they care about that I've been involved in many cases that I've delivered, was enough to remind them and remind me of how much the city has been transformed, not just during my MPship, but because of initiatives I've undertaken.
I said nastiness because you face a complaint of running a false campaign against Rajiv Chandrasekhar because of some of the allegations that were purported to you.
I mean,
and he's facing a case filed by a Congress worker over his affidavit as well. So it's become pretty
these
legal.
are different issues. Number one, in terms of what I said, I never used his name or his party's name. A journalist said, you know, one's hearing about all of these, this money being spent in the coastal belt to influence voters, and I said I've heard the same thing, which I had. And this became an issue that and the Election Commission authority here took the view that any reasonable person would assume this was a reference to him, even though he was not named. Now he's gone and filed a defamation case in both Delhi and Kerala, I understand. So one will contest it, because this has been widely talked about, and there are people who have spoken on the record about it. So for me to have heard it, others would have heard it too on television. So all I confirm is I've heard it too. I particularly said no one has said it to me directly. No one has tried to give me any money to vote for BJP. But I've heard it too, is all I said. And that's suddenly become my false campaign. It was not a campaign, it was an answer to a media question in one interview, never said it before or since. And one can produce the tapes of people who've said this on TV in Malayalam and in other places, in press conferences and so on. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm somebody who's always respected the law, always respected the standards of civilized politics, and I'm very happy to defend any case that may come before the courts.
Rajiv Chandrasekhar, you know, as I said, he comes from a tech entrepreneur background. He's been a MOS of skill, IT, you know, he's seen as one of those can-do people, and he's bringing a vision document for Trivandrum. He's talking about SEZs, ports, development, and so on and so forth. Is that not posing a challenge
Not
to
at
whatever
all,
is Shashi Tharoor's vision?
unfortunately, that document, I've not read the document, but I've read newspaper accounts of some of the main points. It merely shows his ignorance of the job. For example, an AIIMS has been offered to Kerala by the BJP government 10 years ago, it still hasn't come. And I point to that as one of the examples of the Modi guarantee being that we will not keep our word. That is the Modi guarantee in Trivandrum. 3 promises made for Kerala and specifically for Trivandrum, all 3 broken. And I pointed to that. Now the gentleman apparently, according to the media, has announced that he's going to establish an AIIMS in Neyatingara, which is a rural municipality, some half an hour, 40 minutes from Trivandrum town. And I wish he could, but the problem is only the state government is allowed to decide what the venue will be. I had already had Trivandrum, a different part, Parashala, incorporated in the list of the state government when the Congress was ruling, that was submitted to the BJP government. And I had seen the health minister at the time, and he promised a team to come and inspect these sites. But when the new CPM government came to power in Kerala, they withdrew the list submitted by the Congress-led government and gave a one-city list of Kozhikode alone. Which means that if Mr. Chandrasekhar becomes an MP tomorrow, he is not going to be able to do a darn thing about bringing an AIIMS to Trivandrum because the Kozhikode is the venue given by the state government. If tomorrow my party brings a new state government to power, we can perhaps negotiate whether it can be in Trivandrum or Kozhikode or anywhere else. But the fact is, the BJP isn't going to come within sniffing distance of power in Kerala. So he has to understand what an MP's job and role is and what requires the active cooperation and implementation by the state government. Half the things he's recommended require land acquisition, which only the state government can do. And this state government has been notoriously niggardly on land acquisition, largely due to the fact that they've mismanaged the state finances so badly they don't have enough money to do it. So a lot of projects are pending. For example, I've been pushing for the expansion of the airport. 13 acres more needed to expand Trivandrum International Airport. This has been on the anvil for about 8 years at least, and the state government keeps saying yes, 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 but they can't find the money to do it.
So have they been actively blocking you and your work?
It's not a question of they have a different set of priorities from me, but despite that, once a certain commitment has been made to a cause, if the resources can be found, it can be done. With this state government, no resources seem to be available for anything that doesn't involve paying off CPM cadres. I don't find another case against me, folks. I'm just saying that this is the impression that the public also has. And therefore, as far as we're concerned, a lot of things are hanging fire because the state government will not find the resources for it. I have a huge problem in the coastal area because we have massive sea erosion. We're losing. I've written to the Prime Minister saying if a foreign country came and took 6 feet of our land, we'd all be up in arms wanting to fight a war against them. In my Trivandrum constituency alone, in my time as an MP, we've lost 64 square kilometers of beachfront. The coastal area is collapsing because of sea attacks. The water coming in and bashing and I just visited one place today where even the road has disappeared from the coastal area. I've been there before, but I went again to make the point that this requires money. I made the point of spending the very modest MP funds I have. I spent 1.1 crores to construct a seawall in one area to show how it could be done. Doesn't require any high-level technology, doesn't require any sophisticated rocket science. All it needs is some stones or concrete or anything to block the sea. And behind there, the beach has survived. Everywhere else, where there is no money, it hasn't. And I've been begging the state government, I've been begging the central government. I've raised the issue with 3 central ministers. I've raised the issue in Parliament multiple times. I've written to the PM. The central government keeps taking refuge in the argument that shoreline protection is the state government's responsibility, not theirs, and they will not contribute. State government keeps saying we have no money. So finally, in response to my goading, literally 3 days or 4 days before the election code of conduct was announced, the state government announced a 346 crore project to safeguard the coastline in my constituency, which will involve seawalls, groins as they're called, G-R-O-Y-N-E-S, which stick out into the sea like this, and fishing harbors, which would help safeguard the entire coastline. But they say of the 346 crores they're proposing, 200 crores has to come from the centre. Now, have they asked the centre for it? Has the centre agreed to give it? Is there money set aside in the budget? No answer. Has even the state government set aside their share of 146 if the centre gives 200? No answer. Now tell me what all these fantasies of my opposing candidate are going to amount to when these realities are what confront an MP every day.
Okay, well, you're describing actually the frustrations of being an MP and what governance can sometimes look like.
I'm proud of being a good voice for my constituency in and outside Parliament. I've spoken, I think, I hold the record for the most speeches in Parliament about coastal issues and fishermen's problems. Whether it's under the question hour, under 0 hour, under Rule 377, in my budget speech, in raising questions to ministers, I have not let them off the hook.
But can I just ask you,
yeah.
I was speaking to a BJP leader and they said Trivandrum doesn't need a good debater. It needs a good doer. And maybe the BJP's calling card is that they would be in government because according to them,
they're losing this election.
They're losing.
So they're not going to be
according to them, they're coming back for a third term of Narendra Modi, and it's better to have a BJP MP from Trivandrum. Don't you think that would be an interesting
prospect? That is the argument they're making. That if you vote for Tharoor, you get an opposition person who can speak well. If you vote for our guy, he's going to be a minister. The sad truth is, number one, that they're not going to get the government. Already the mahal that has started after the first round of voting shows that they're collapsing, even in the Hindi belt, which is fascinating to watch. But apart from that, what is an MP's job? An MP has no executive authority. An MP's job is to actually deliver through his influence, through his oratory, through his conversations with both sets of governments in centre and state, and through his personal influence and connections. I happen to, by sheer fluke, meet Gautam Adani in a line and a queue to board a flight. And that's how I persuaded him to bid for the Vizhinjam port. Now people assume it's a BJP deal because Adani is BJP. BJP was nowhere in the picture. It was the Congress government in the power here, Congress government in part of the centre, and me as the MP from here speaking to Mr. Adani. Listen, that's one example. Second, there's a UAE consulate here. It had nothing to do with either the central government of the Congress or of the BJP. I happen to know the UAE foreign minister rather well, and I persuaded him that with Kerala coming in such large numbers to the UAE, it was unfair, and they had to go to other states to get visas. And then when he said, okay, in principle, I agree, there was immediately lobby from Kochi saying it had to go there. I went to him and said, look, sorry, this is my request, my idea, it should be in my constituency, and he granted it. So, I mean, I know what I've been able to do for this place. There's a passport seva kendra in a rural area in Nayatangara because I knew, I had heard from people they were taking 2 hours by bus to come and stand in a day-long queue for basic passport services. I got that done for them. I brought in 11 central institutions when I was a minister, so I know what a minister can do. But that also depends on your ability to influence other ministries. I would love to see what this gentleman has done in 18 years as an MP for Karnataka. People from Karnataka come here and say that he's done nothing. So I don't know where the performance record comes from. Certainly in the skill development industry, as I pointed out in the budget speech in the Lok Sabha this year, the skill levels of the Indian workforce in 2014 were just 2.3%. Today, after 10 years of BJP rule, it's 2.4%. These are official figures. So in other words, in 10 years, you've got 0.1% improvement in skill development, of which only 25% have got jobs. Of those who've gone up, only 25% trained by the BJP have got jobs. So what kind of skill development is this?
You mentioned Gautam Adani and how you were instrumental in bringing him here for ports, and the Congress was instrumental. And yet today, and you are aware of the fact that this has been a narrative by Congress leaders like Rahul Gandhi. Congress is being accused of bashing industrialists in public narrative and even demeaning wealth creators. So here you are sitting as an MP saying, we needed Gautam Adani to come, and your party bashes
the Congress is a big tent. There are lots of views. I happen to believe that we are absolutely right in our standing for social justice. We are right to oppose crony capitalism and undue favors to any individuals. But we have been the party of liberalization in 1991, the opening up of the economy. In that first government of 91 to 96 with Dr. Manmohan Singh as finance minister, and subsequently the 10 years of UPA with Manmohan Singh as prime minister have given us a very good record of both liberalizing the economy, encouraging business to grow, but at the same time using the revenues that accrue to the government from the profits of business to help those who are marginalized, excluded and left out.
But
and the reason and the logic for that, for me, may be different for others. Others may feel that this is all about socialism or whatever. My logic, when I speak to business groups, is very different. I'm saying we help the poor and the disadvantaged and the marginalized because the magic of the market will not appeal to those who cannot afford to enter the marketplace. But with giving them a leg up, they will enter the marketplace and they will become your future consumers and customers.
No, but
it's a win-win for both of you. There's a big difference there.
Isn't there a gap in what you are saying and, you know, what we saw, for example, during UPA? You're talking about crony capitalism. It is UPA 2 particularly that face the most charges. Now, Narendra Modi-led government at the center can say, you can accuse us of anything, but absolutely no charge has stuck on corruption. And the public recognizes it as the least corrupt government they've seen in decades.
Well, look at the electoral bonds issue. You've got a series of cases where people are raided by CBI and ED and then they go and purchase electoral bonds. That's extortion. You've got a series of other cases where people are giving large amounts of electoral bonds and they're winning national contracts. That's corruption. So don't tell me the BJP is corruption free. I'm sorry. These are both flagrant examples which the BJP had tried to suppress and which finally the Supreme Court forced into the open. There's the famous or notorious BJP washing machine, where they open inquiries against opposition politicians. The day the opposition politician joins the BJP or an ally, the cases suddenly disappear and they're given a clean sheet. I mean, this is a party that has condoned, enabled and fomented corruption. It's not a question of na khaunga, na khane dunga. It's a party that believes in khilaunga. Aap hame bhi khilaiye, hum aapko khilayenge. It's really shameful.
Speaking of socialism and taking care of the downtrodden, you are aware, Shashi Tharoor, that the Congress manifesto for 2024 has come under great scrutiny, particularly by the Prime Minister himself. And in the past, the Congress manifesto has been accused of being akin to what the Muslim League promised at one time. You're in bed with the IUML today in Kerala. But first, on the issue of socialism and wealth and taking care of the downtrodden, Rahul Gandhi wants a financial institution survey after a caste survey that the Congress is promising to see who owns what. And it has triggered fears that the Congress wants to go to some sort of a communist formula of a wealth redistribution.
Have you read the manifesto? I'm a member of the manifesto committee, Shivani. The word Muslim doesn't appear in the manifesto. The word redistribution does not appear.
Minority is a euphemism for Muslims in India. Come on.
I'm sorry, I am in a state where 20% are Christians. So, I mean, there are minorities of various sorts in our country. Let me stress two things. Number one, when we talk about justice in our society, nyaya is the code word. We're talking about helping those who are weak, dispossessed, vulnerable, left out. Don't pretend they don't exist.
But why?
For the last 10 years of BJP rule, 80% of our population has seen their income go down.
No, but sir, why does a caste survey need to happen? And then a financial institution survey need to happen, and then this justice will come. What does a caste survey have to do with the downtrodden today?
On that issue, I think there will be varying emphases, and of course, I'm sure that policies involving caste will also involve state governments. It's not just a federal matter. But the broad idea is to have an accurate picture. Look, we are a country where so many benefits appear to be geared to caste. So we need to understand better what the picture is. How many people are in what caste and what are their, and the socio-economic aspect is how wealthy are they, etc. I mean, the fact is that everyone has made policy so far slightly in the air, right? So you've talked about X percentage of reservations for OBCs. Do we know how many OBCs there are? Do we know how well off they are? Do we know where they live? Do we know whether they're getting the right entitlements or not? So as long as our system does have entitlements that are based on caste, it seems to be logical that you need to know what the numbers are that you're talking about.
But don't you think the Congress party has a responsibility to explain, now that this has come under scrutiny and we're debating it, which shouldn't be a bad thing, as to whether they mean distribution, redistribution of wealth in a manner that the fear that it invokes, you will take from some who have earned something and distribute it to others that you deem are more worthy. Is that what the path India should take?
Certainly not what I believe and what, as a member of the manifesto committee, was ever discussed. All I can say is, if the Prime Minister has made a fairly shameful remark that they're going to take away your family gold and your Mangal Sutra and give it to Muslims. Number one, as I said, there is no word, the word Muslim doesn't occur in the manifesto. Number two, nowhere is this kind of redistribution talked about. Number three, the same Prime Minister said this country has been ruled for 65 years by the Congress repeatedly. Have we ever done this in these 65 years? Have we ever taken away people's wealth and given it to minorities or Muslims in particular? I'm sorry, this is just naked communal politics, Shivani. We have to call it out for what it is. And I must say, for the Prime Minister of a country to do this is truly shameful. He is the Prime Minister of all Indians of whatever religion, whatever caste, whatever background, whatever income group. He should not be speaking such polarizing language. It is deeply dismaying and disappointing. I respect the office of Prime Minister, but this is something that is very difficult to take from anyone.
He's saying Manmohan Singh, the Congress Prime Minister, is also on record to say minorities have the first right to India's resources, particularly the Muslims. Now you can contextualize it whichever way you see.
Just listen to the whole speech and you can contextualize it.
No, but the reality is that this is the duality of Indian politics. Congress on one hand is accused of appeasing Muslims to the extent that a lot of your policies are devised only to appease a certain section. You could say it includes other minorities too, but the charge the Congress faces is not that.
I would disagree profoundly, Shivani. I think the strength of the Congress party is we look at people and we see Indians first. We do not see Indians primarily. That's the way I was brought up by a very nationalist father who belonged to that generation that came of age with independence. My dad turned 18 in 1947. So for him, these values are profound. He dropped his caste name in college because he felt that, again, was not the right thing to do. When I was growing up in Bombay as a child, friends from all over came and played. Never once did he mention anyone's religion or caste, nor my mother. That is, that no one would say, oh, that Muslim boy or that Sikh boy or whatever. It was always the person by his name. We saw people as individuals. Yes, you could imagine somebody was rich, or somebody was a good athlete, or somebody was a good cricketer, or somebody was very good at history, and somebody else was very good at math. Those are qualities. But never did that generation believe in bringing children up to see people on the basis of their birth or identity features inherent in matters they couldn't control. To my mind, that is the kind of India the Congress party has built and which we have sustained for 70 years. To me, when I see it, it never occurs to me to ask somebody what their caste is. You can't, unfortunately, be oblivious to their religion because it's visible in their name. But otherwise, it has not occurred to me, and it will never occur to me, because that's the kind of Indian I am. And as far as I'm concerned, there are political realities in our country, and particularly there is a tradition of reservations, there's a tradition of, let's put it bluntly, benefits and opportunities that seem to be linked to caste. And at some point when our party says, let's at least do a study that anatomizes this and understand what it's worth, I'd see no harm in getting information.
Shouldn't
But
Rahul
even
Gandhi
then, there will be
clarify?
public discussion on policies. Look, when we come to power in June, it's going to be in a coalition. There are going to be other parties. Many parties will have their say and their view. And so if there is a census conducted soon after, the results too will be a matter for discussion. There will be lively debate in Parliament. One of the best things we've seen with coalition governments is that we don't have this kind of top-down decision-making as we've seen in 10 years of BJP rule, where nothing is truly discussed, where the version that comes of a particular bill in Parliament is always the version that passes because no one is given a chance in the ruling party to dissent or express any other views, and where the dissent from the opposition is cheerfully disregarded by the party group majority. In a coalition, you have different parties expressing nuanced views. There'll be real debate in Parliament. People really have to think through issues. And this too will be discussed.
Okay, I won't get into coalition, governments, because that's a subject for another day. But I want quick two responses. Don't you think Rahul Gandhi or other top leaders of the Congress party should clarify their remark about what they mean with these, what they mean to when they say they'll conduct these surveys, and what will happen after that? Doesn't the public deserve to know?
Look, I have clarified. I'm assuming that what you need to do is ask the Congress spokesman to clarify. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Congress spokesman has already done so. I've been on a vehicle top pretty much every day for the last 16 days, so from morning to night. So my catching up with the media, which is something I normally enjoy doing, is very limited.
They're only accusing the Prime Minister of making the statements that you have talked about. But generally also the public is very keen to know what do they mean when it comes to these surveys. They've promised removing caps for OBC reservations or caste reservations. They've promised a caste survey.
Well, that's already been done in Tamil Nadu, where the OBC population is estimated at 70%, and they've said we're not going to stick to the 50% cap. And as far as I know, no one has told them that it's unconstitutional or whatever, and they are giving reservations beyond the 50% cap in Tamil Nadu. I believe one or two other states have followed suit in recent years. So I don't know what that, but again, the courts can rule on these matters, right? If somebody has an issue, they can do so. Look, I'm not personally sitting here defending every particular evolution of the reservation policies. I'm describing a reality that exists in our politics today. I've come into politics just 15 years ago. And in these 15 years, I've learned very much the realities, which I sometimes feel my opponents haven't, but that's another matter. As far as I'm aware, in this election, an MP can talk about what he can actually do himself and what he's prepared to make efforts to do, which involve influencing others that he may not be able to deliver.
No, I did want a quick clarification on the other Rahul Gandhi slogan, because you are obviously representing the Congress vision nationally, not just in Kerala. He talks about Jitni Abadi Utna Hak, that everything in society will be determined by what the caste calculations are.
He has not used that slogan for at least a few months.
Why is that? So he said it, but then has gone back on it?
No, it's not that. It's just that slogan can lend itself to misrepresentation, as he understood, and certainly some of us, for example, in the South, are already troubled about the fact that the numbers in the North are likely to skew our system very much against the South, and so we would not be literally willing to translate that statement into policy. Because as far as we're concerned, states have rights which go beyond the numbers in other states or in other parts of the country. Our system is a very complex one, Shivani, and our federal system needs to be safeguarded. Ultimately, whoever rules, BJP or the India Alliance, and I think it's going to be the India Alliance, we need to safeguard the constitutional principle that was so brilliantly crafted 75 years ago to ensure that, number one, the diversity of India is a strength and not a weakness, which sadly the BJP doesn't seem to see it that way. Second, that the federal structure guarantees states that their rights will not be compromised by an overweening center. Third, that Indian unity will be preserved by making everyone feel they have an equal stake in Indian unity. Now, you can't preserve unity if you start destroying the social harmony by making some communities or religious groups feel outsiders, feel second class, feel divorced. That hurts our unity. Then you can't do it by excluding certain states either from your priorities. But those are the things that matter, Shiva.
But has Congress done enough to shed its anti-Hindu or pro-Muslim image? I mean, here in Kerala, one of the big issues is that the SDPI is lending support to the Congress party.
We didn't ask for it.
You didn't ask for it, but you're not shunning it either that much.
No, I think as far as I know, the Congress acting president, because the president himself is a candidate, so he ceded this place to another acting president who happens to be a Muslim, M.M. Hassan. He said publicly, look, we don't want the support. We never asked for it, we're not seeking it. Every individual voter, whatever his other allegiance may be, or her other allegiance may be, is free to vote for the party of their choice. So if some individuals who happen to like the SDPI but discover there is no SDPI candidate to vote for, and the SDPI wants you to vote for the Congress, they vote for the Congress, why should we deny an individual their democratic right to vote for the party of their choice? That's a different matter, but we have not sought in any way the support of these parties. Look, Shivani, these are sort of classic BJP cliches. And you've got to understand that politics is far more complex than that. For example, here in Trivandrum, I'm being attacked from the left as being quote-unquote anti-Muslim, which is the most absurd thing for a Congress MP, but it's also absurd in terms of my own track record, including my debates in Parliament. But you know, sometimes campaigners deliberately capitalize on what they assume is the ignorance of the voters. And they underestimate the Kerala voter at their peril, because the Kerala voter is educated, understands things, and can be corrected. But sadly, we have a very peculiar situation where the left is spending all its time attacking not the BJP, whom they're trying apparently to dislodge from power, but the Congress, which is trying the same thing.
Because they're very irked with you, and particularly Rahul Gandhi, for coming here and fighting a second election from Rahul.
Look, there is absolutely no law. If they're going to be irked with Rahul Gandhi for fighting Raina, first of all, he's a sitting MP, he has every right to defend his seat. Then, by that logic, I should be irked with them when I am the one congressman who's had to stave off a BJP challenge twice in a row. I should be very irked with them that they're putting up a challenger against me, and what's more, their parties are spending all their time attacking me. I mean, if they were attacking the BJP in the same breath, at least that would be a consolation. They don't mention the BJP at all. It's all attacking me. So, I mean, honestly, one wonders whose game they're playing. Because if the idea is that they want to get all the Muslim votes away from me to their candidate, even then that candidate cannot defeat me, but he can presumably make it easy for the BJP candidate to defeat me. So it's a peculiar kind of logic. Anyway, I'm not worried, as I say, our ground reality is that I'm going to win anyway. But looking at all this, it shows you the complexity of our politics, and it's something that we can laugh about one day, but it's something that people should realize. We don't have a very simple, straightforward, black or white ideological politics as other countries, other democracies are lucky to have.
Well, you could say that again. That's certainly a reality, but you're confident about your win from Trivandrum?
Yeah.
How many seats for the Congress party overall?
Well, the Congress is only contesting 16. 4 have been given to allies. I think we'll win all 16 and the allies will win all 4. So we're looking at 20.
And you're predicting a coalition government led by the India Alliance at the center?
Absolutely no doubt about that, judging by what we're picking up after the first votes. I mean, what's very interesting is exit polls are not published, but people talk after voting. And there is no doubt where the mahal is. The mahal right now coming not only from Tamil Nadu, which went to the polls, where people are even rashly talking about 40 seats for the DMK-led alliance, of which we are a part. We have 9 seats we're contesting. We're going to win them all, according to everyone. We're hearing very positive feedback from those districts of Rajasthan, UP, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh that also voted. So it's quite amazing. No one, I think, saw this coming. Everyone, especially in the commentariat, assumed this is an easy deal for the BJP.
You don't think that it's a done deal at all?
Not at all, because I think where the BJP miscalculated is 2014 they won on an economic development platform. 2018 they won on a national security platform, Pulwama Balakot, tough guy, 56-inch chest. 2024 they were going to try and win on a Hindu Hriday Samrat thing, Ram Janmabhoomi, Abu Dhabi temple, all of that stuff. They've miscalculated there because the impact of that has worn off. And people are once again beginning to think, well, I voted for this government because I thought they were going to give me a job. 10 years later, I still don't have a job. Why do I vote for them again? Somebody else says, I used to go to buy this at the market a couple of years ago. I can no longer afford to buy it. Why do I vote for these guys? People are being reminded that elections are about their self-interest, that it's about the government's responsibility is not to go and do pran pratishas at temples. The government's responsibility is the welfare of the Aam Aadmi. And this has suffered terribly in the course of 10 years of BJP rule. We have the highest levels of unemployment in this country, one of the highest levels of youth unemployment in the world. We have highest levels of educated unemployed in the world. And we have inflation which in world terms may not be record-shattering, but in India terms, very, very price-sensitive nation. That bottom 80% whose income has gone down in the last 10 years, they are literally feeling the pinch.
Okay.
Only the top 20% has benefited. So when you look at all of this, Shivani, I can see why the BJP is in serious trouble. Now, of course, there are, thanks to this extraordinary election schedule, there are 6-7 weeks to go. So the picture may evolve, but it's going to be a very uphill task for them because the picture could also get worse for them.
Okay. I have a final couple of minutes with Shashi Tharoor. So we're sitting in this coffee shop. He's finished his entire drink, which was a double chocolate something. So what is it? How do you keep yourself up and sprightly during campaigning? Well, because that is going to be a big job.
Any consolation, it's the only calories I've consumed for most of the second half of today. Because I've been, see, normally in most days, I'm on the top of a vehicle from 8ish in the morning to 10 o'clock when the Election Commission mandates a cut-off.
Yes.
And most days I usually get a lunch break. Today, I couldn't get a lunch break because there was because I had commitments in town to come to. There was a somewhat fun book event. There was an interaction with the Trivandrum Chamber of Commerce, which initially wanted a debate amongst all the candidates. The other 2 candidates said they prefer to do it alone. They don't want to debate me. So they've done theirs and I've come and done mine today. And then I came from there, past a wedding, which I had to go to, and then come to you. So it's been an unusual day. And of course, all I've had throughout this time is endless cups of chai, because my throat needs the warmth. So I thought, let me treat myself to this and skip anything else.
Consider this our treat today. Thank you so much for talking to us. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Shivani.
And we'll see how the results go.
Yeah, we'll talk after January 4th. Look forward. Thank you.
June 4th. Thank you.
June 4th, sorry. You see how tired I am. June 4th.
Of course, we will chat again with Shashi Tharoor on not just his result on after April 26th voting in Trivandrum, which will come on June 4, but on the national picture as well.
Sure.
Thank you so much for giving us your time.
My pleasure.